Hi, we're Late Paper Dreamers, and I'm Alexandra.
And I'm Audie.
And yeah, we're excited to be back. And you tell us what we did today, Audie.
We did what we do every Sunday, and we went to our favorite little indie bookstore, and they were very nice as usual. I just got back into town like 2 hours ago or something like that. And then usually we just kind of cool off by like going to this little bookstore downtown and buying a book or seeing what books are there. I think I've committed to not buying a book each time, but I kind of end up buying a book that I don't end up reading. But I get a little coffee, or Alex gets a little coffee. This time I got Clockwork Orange. I'm not going to look at it. I remember what it is. I got a Clockwork Orange coffee, which is white chocolate, blood orange, something. Blood orange. Is blood orange a flavor?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Blood orange plus white chocolate, and it's a latte, hot. Mm-hmm. And so I put 2 extra espresso shots in it, and the lady was really nice. And when we were looking around, we saw a book that we wanted to get. Ironically, just turned out to be was Red Rising, which is the book that we're planning on reading soon. For the sci-fi book, it's a sci-fi book that we're reading. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Red Rising is a new series that we want to like start. And the first book was on the shelf. That bookstore, by the way, is like booming. Like there was like maybe 12 people in there. Usually it's just me and Alexandra. No shade, but it is Sunday, and usually it's not that many people in there. It's just me and Alexandra, and they're like stocking the books and stuff. But today it was really busy because of a sale.
Yeah, it was like 70% off or something on like some used books they had.
Mm-hmm. They have a little room in the side where they have like the used books and books that people return. Not return, but the books that they get on thrift stores or something like that. I think they go out and like search for books, right? Or do they do donations?
So they're like donations. Like when you bring in, you can bring like used books and then new books you just didn't get to. But I think it's like you get store credit. So used books is like 30%, and then like new books, maybe like you read it like once or like didn't touch it, it's like 50% off, I believe. Store credit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
They have a lot of little events. You also said they have like a podcast. No, we have a podcast. They have a book club.
Yeah, book club.
That we're not joining because we don't have time. We'd probably do really good in the book club, though. You would. I'd do really bad. I just listen to the podcast and pretend like the audiobook and pretend like I read it. But yeah, they're a nice little bookstore. They've grown a lot. It looks like it seems like they're thriving. I for sure thought that they were going to close down because I didn't think our town read. Like I know the people here. I don't think they read. No shade to anybody that I know that used to live here. But shade to everybody else because I think, I don't think they'd be reading. So it was really surprising to see a bunch of people really interacting in the, community with it. I just saw like little kids like running around. When they were running around, they were kind of like interested in the books too. Started them out young. That's so sweet.
You cursed, by the way, when we were walking out the door in
front
of the children.
I was like, what the fuck is this? It was like a book. It was like the collection of the history of like witchcraft and spiritual arts, and I was like walking out, and it was in the children's book section, and there was like Fourth Wing next to it. But I was like, what the fuck? I was like on the way out, I wanted to get it. Yeah, I didn't know it was that loud. Yeah,
it's okay. I accidentally like slammed the door. Like,
oh, what the fuck is this? Slams the door.
I was trying to grab it, and then the wind just kind of blew it. Like
yeah,
it blows it shut.
They know we're satisfied. Do you think they remember us? Or you?
Well, I mean, the girl working the coffee.
I told her that she gave us a recommendation.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if she remembered us. but she will. I'm still debating on telling them we have a podcast so that we become the special guest. We need at least like, I don't know. We need at least like 100 subscribers, and then I'll tell them, and they'll be like, "Oh, they're a big deal." But yeah, no, it was really fun. I like going there before we start. It's a nice little icebreaker, and we got the Red Rising book, which we'll talk about later for like 10 seconds because we haven't read it yet. But I'm really excited about it. Yeah. And yeah. I did not get anything that, like, I just kind of randomly get stuff usually. Like, I usually get, like, a poetry book or something like that, and I grab something random. I won't read all of what I grab off there. I just like having things that I can just open every now and then and just, like, enjoy. Like this little book that I don't ever read, but I do like looking at the pictures and stuff like that. Like, it's like a graphic novel. Yeah. Cool. Graphic novel? No, it's a manga. It's a manga with hard book cover, hard R.
What?
Hard cover. I'm sorry. The double shots are hitting. But yeah, so I didn't grab anything this time that I was like just gonna casually read.
You also said like you wouldn't spend any money the last time we went in there.
Yeah, but this is like for like a, we need the Red Rising series, and I'm excited. And you already started the other book.
Yeah, we have been putting off Red Rising.
Yeah, we haven't been putting off. We just started. We were like,
we've been talking about it, not like getting to it, but we're like, that's a book. Maybe it sounds interesting.
We haven't been putting off like how we've been putting off Six of Crows. Yeah, Six of Crows has gotten literally pushed so far. Anyways, we'll talk about it later.
So I have. I mean, this is gonna look like a crazy haul, but it's like I didn't get this in all in like 1 month. I promise you. Like it's been like since we took our break, and so what? There's been how many months now? Like 5.
No, it's been 3 months.
Yeah,
max.
3 months. Whatever. It feels longer. Yeah. But anyway.
By the way, this is to show you like why we have a book podcast, because Alex just reads. And just can read really fast. She doesn't realize how fast she reads. So she's like, this is a crazy haul, but it's not that crazy. She's reading more books than I've read in like 5 years, just like in these last like few, like sure it's 3 months, but like still like I think this is impressive at least. So anyways, sorry.
Thank you. It's going so slow.
Upper body strength, my boy.
Anyway, yeah, so...
Do you want me to hold your phone for you?
Yes, please. So, we have Sorceress Comes the Call by T. Kingfisher, and this is the Owl Crate version. I got approved for this arc before this came out last month, and I was approved for it a couple of months ago and finally read it, and I enjoyed it. It's a dark fairy tale retelling about the Goose Girl, which... It was a fairy tale that I know we're both not familiar with, but I enjoyed it. And it was little geese on the side.
Oh, I don't trust that goose.
It goes around. And I know a lot of people, like, I heard talks and, like, other reviews about this, how it wasn't, like, dark enough for this. But I think it reminds me of, like, 80s like fantasy kind of.
Have you finished it already?
Yeah, I read the arc.
80s fantasy?
Kind of like, there's that legend, like labyrinth kind of like, vibe.
Have you seen The Black Cauldron?
The animation.
Yeah. Does it remind you of that?
Yeah.
Because I gave me nightmares as a kid for a long time. I was excited to like, if you would mind passing it over to me someday, reading it.
This is the naked hardback cover. What's the quote? It says, this is like, I don't know.
Dang.
It looks like...
Can you not read it? Oh.
It's kind of small, like the...
On reagents, they're... Damn. Ashes?
On... Regents, that's a weird spelling of it. Their uses in the
I'm gonna take a picture.
Homework.
Okay, y'all. We can read. Well, I'm taking a picture and I'm gonna show y'all what this looks like. It looks good.
Yeah, I'm also very blind. So,
Oh yeah. Wait, really?
Yeah, of contacts in, but probably need to update my prescription. But anyway, on the back it says "Great chaos is unleashed when a sorcerer dies." So that's slightly bigger than the front.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's nice. And then this is the dust jacket. Nice. And then it has this side, and on the inside there is this.
Oh, cool.
So these are all like, I believe for Alacrate, yeah, that has like author's letter and I believe it's a digital signing. But yeah, it has that. For Alacrate, like they have like all the, I think a different artist does each thing. So the foiling, this is all done by different artists, which is cool.
That's sick. Is it like a really popular book?
Well, it came out a month ago, so
I wonder if we should do more obscure kind of books too. It looks nice. I like the illustrations, how they look like the old. I like old books with old illustrations.
I like that as well.
Yeah. Another one.
Hold it. This one's not as complicated. This is my most recent book that I got. It just came out. I got the arc also for this book. I read it, and it's probably one of my favorite books of this year. It's called This Fatal Kiss by Alicia Jasinska. And it's kind of like a Slavic, Polish fantasy inspired book. There's a poly pairing. A girl main character, she's like a river spirit, and then one of her love interest is like, I don't know, he's like not a sorcerer. That was the word I'm thinking of. Like, he does
spirit, forest magic. It's like
like when you
wizard, magician.
I know, like when
Gandalf the Grey.
You do like if there's like a demon and
he's exorcist.
Exorcist.
Oh, okay. Kind of. That's cool. I like that.
And then there's another guy.
Those two don't really like cross over that much. Like the nature spirits and exorcist kind of thing don't really like. That's cool. I like the color, the sage.
Yeah. And this was like a surprise because I didn't know, since this is like it was a pre-order first edition, I didn't know it would have this like cool little naked hardback. So it was pretty cool.
That's sick. Wait, so is that a romance book?
Yeah, it's like a poly pairing.
Okay.
So I like it. It was definitely
keep it a little closer.
A unique story. And then this is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is a Greek retelling. If you know anything about Ariadne, it's like her base of the story about like the Minotaur. I don't know if you remember in the Labyrinth.
Oh, is she the one that the love interest for the Minotaur?
Not the Minotaur. Is it Perseus?
Persephone?
No, not Persephone. Theseus, I think his name. Theseus. I want to say Perseus, but it's not Perseus. He's the one that defeats the Minotaur. But she like falls in love with him and this whole story. But it was like a unique. And this is probably my favorite book. Okay.
Like in all?
Well, I would say maybe second favorite book, but this is my favorite book by Jennifer Saint.
Okay.
I read Electra by her. I've read Hera.
You told me about that.
But yeah, this is the Waterstones version, which I really wanted. Like, it's not signed or anything, but I think this is just a.
Are these connected? Like the Greek? I know the Greek retellings of stories. Are they like connected since they're like reimaginings that are they in the world that she's making for these? Are they like connected? Because I know you told me about Electra and Hera, but I don't know if they have any overlap.
I would say, I wouldn't say Hera overlaps. Maybe this one and Electra does, just because like this is before Electra happens, like before the Trojan War, I think. And so there's a like, it's definitely a reference in there, but like none of the characters are like, interact. And speaking of Electra, who has Clytemnestra, who's her mother, I got Clytemnestra by Cassandra Casati.
Wow, I didn't realize how much you were like into Greek mythology, and I should have by now. But yeah.
Yeah, this is Page and Wick. And I just saw this and I had to have it. Like, I think his name's Niall Grant. Page and Wick is a newer, like smaller book company, and they have one author that does like everything that designs the whole book. And so I really I've seen his stuff and I really like his artwork. And yeah, so this has a little arrow on it, quote on the back.
What's it about?
So Clytemnestra is after the Trojan War, her husband, or during the Trojan War, her husband Agamemnon sacrifices their eldest daughter, so they can travel safely to Troy, and she never forgives him, and she basically plots like his death when he comes back, and that's a long time. The Trojan War lasted 10 years. And so that's
I would watch that.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. But yeah, there's this. It has like on the inside, and this one doesn't have a reversible dust jacket, but it's still like so stunning. Anyway, and this author also released another book. Let me see, I'll put these over here so you can see the sprayed edges. This is her newest, same author, Cassandra Casati, Babylonia. And this is about, I don't know too much about this one, but a queen in Mesopotamia. And yeah, and like they match like perfectly. That's one reason why I heard a lot of good things about it. And
have you read all of it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
And yeah, it has this on the inside. And also these.
Is she Babylonia? Or is that like a place?
It's a place.
Oh, okay, that's right.
But yeah, I don't know too much. I haven't read both these yet, but I enjoy like Natalie Haynes and Jennifer Saint. I've read some other Greek retelling authors, Madeline Miller, and so I was excited to like see a different book and also another retelling of Clytemnestra. So hopefully I'll get back into that. And this is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden, and I got this a couple months ago, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But I believe it's about the relationship between a brother and sister, and like he goes to war, and so it's like during the First World War. So I guess it's both them dealing with that and like being separated from their family. So yeah, I just thought this cover was stunning, and the sprayed edges. This is Fairy Loot.
Oh, I like the back of it with
the
what are those sparrows?
I think.
Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, it's on the inside. And this is my first Fairy Loot. I'm not a subscriber to Fairy Loot. I've gotten some stuff on their what do they call it? Public sale. And yeah, I was excited to see this. This is the front, and there's nothing on the back, but still quite stunning. And I just noticed like the difference between getting this one and because the books from the UK, they're printed larger, versus like the US, standard editions like the Owl Crate. So that is, you can tell the difference right here. But yeah, I've been kind of playing around with seeing which ones, because I'm also new to collecting special editions, which ones I like. And this is the only, I'm a subscriber to Owl Crate and Illumicrate, but this is the only Illumicrate book I've gotten, because To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chang.
She sounds familiar.
We might have talked about it, but I don't know if I've actually shown it.
Do you remember that old book review that we did like a long time ago? Like a really long, like the first like book review. I think she was on it.
I think I said that it would be the next one I was getting.
Yeah.
But I don't believe I ever showed it.
Okay, not upcoming books that we did that long time ago. Maybe not. Yeah. Okay.
But we did. Because I got this in
That's
May.
So cool.
So this is the dust jacket. This hardcover, pretty cool. And then the inside.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take photos of it then. Yeah.
And then other side, pretty cool artwork. Is signed by the author. So this is the only one. I've been a subscriber since April, and I just haven't been, I guess, interested in the other book picks yet. But yeah, so that is my haul.
That last book is like legitimately beautiful. Like I don't know, that illustration just from this far away was just like, I don't know. I've never seen a book look that pretty before. I don't know. I would probably just read it just for like the illustration on the outside. Be like, oh, I'm reading this book. I get why you like these a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have to? Are these all part of like subscriptions, or are these just like?
So Page and Wick, I'm not a subscriber. And I could possibly like do like a pros and cons of that, but their shipping, they come from the UK, and they're smaller, so it's like kind of their shipping is the same amount as the books, so it'd be like $60. And I'm like, for like a monthly, I don't know if that's like worth it. But I bought Babylonia secondhand because it was their monthly pick, and Clytmenestra was a public sale. Illumicrate is also from the UK, but the shipping isn't like as crazy, and so is Fairy Loot.
Yeah.
But I've been on the wait list for Fairy Loot. It's probably the most popular book subscription, but it's been like almost a year.
You have been like on the. I remember you told me about that last time.
It's been like a year since I've been on the wait list, so I don't know if I'll get it. But I like the quality of them. They seem like the quality is like, really nice. So I enjoy Owl Crate as well. The main thing about Owl Crate is I just got on the adult subscription, but I do like the YA a lot because it comes with items, and they're mostly like useful items. I don't think there's anything really pointless to them. But I do notice, like, with the sprayed edges, as you can see, some, like, Fairy Loot and Page and Wick, they're, like, so saturated. Like, I think the colors are, like really pop versus the stenciled edges of Owl Crate or Illumicrate. And so I really like that about them.
How does it... So does the Owl Crate... Do the authors subscribe to posting their things on Owl Crate? Or does Owl Crate have people create things?
They have like curators for each different section. And,
I see. Yeah. The book contracts are like so interesting because just like learning, like you probably know already, but I didn't realize that like people who publish authors have a lot of control over how they present their work. So a lot of times if you want to create something, you don't really get control of it, but you get the infrastructure to make something really, really nice. And so I kind of wonder about like the process for like these books because they're so like you told me that there were like three authors or three illustrators on one of those books. And I was just wondering how all that worked. One day I'll probably look that up because that's really interesting. These all seem like they have like really similar themes. Like there's three of them about like Greek or mythological women and stories that weren't really elaborated on a lot. Do you have like a favorite of any of those that are from Owlcrate? I guess it was Owlcrate.
From Owlcrate or
sorry,
these?
Yeah, those. What is?
I mean, I would say I'm more interested in Clytemnestra, but Ariadne is the only one I've like read. So I'm curious to see like a different perspective on Clytemnestra than I did in Jennifer Saint, who wrote Ariadne, because it was her other book's called Electra, but it had Clytemnestra's point of view, and it also had Cassandra of Troy.
Oh, so it's like two.
It was like three different point of views, and I don't know if I'm wrong, but I believe this one is entirely from her perspective, which is interesting. But yeah.
Did you seek those out, or did they just like were you intentionally waiting on some of those books that weren't in the crate, but you kind of wanted to see it on, like, did you see those on like TikTok, or like how did you find those?
I saw Clytemnestra on like Instagram, and since I wasn't subscribed, I actively sought out Babylonia. I had to buy it from someone who was a subscriber through Macari, and yeah, I was like waiting for someone to decide they were gonna sell it, because both of these are like, I think, really stunning, and the artwork is really thought out, you know. So I was honestly really surprised that people want to get.
I want to read one. Like I want to read one really soon. So that, and because you mentioned Persephone and how, like, because I asked if you would want me to write a poem about so I wanted to get inspiration. So I was like, I have nothing. Is there a poem I should write about? And then you were like, Persephone is your favorite Greek mythology related character, and so I was wondering if any of these were like good to like study up on. I don't know. I haven't read anything from side characters from like the main stories, and I feel like they'd be like way more interesting. I'll probably end up reading one of these. I'll probably end up reading the one with this nice sprayed edges, like the really, really nice one. But yeah, that's a lot of books, man.
Yeah.
Are you telling me you read all of those, or you started on all of those?
I've only read Ariadne, but I read Ariadne like last year, and through my library app.
So you like collected the books?
Yeah, well, this is one of my favorites, so I wanted.
Oh, you just knew you were gonna read it soon. Okay.
Yeah, an actual copy, because I read it through the Kindle app. So I don't have a copy of it. A Sorceress Comes to Call, and the other one were arcs that I was approved to read, so I need to read those before the release date. So
I see.
when they release them, then I got a copy of them.
If you give your initial impressions on here, are you able to like scratch that off of the arc reviews? Like, oh, I like that one. I like that one. Or is it like a time limit?
I mean, I already posted.
Oh, you already posted them. Okay, okay.
The reviews.
Again, I probably should start getting on my Goodreads account. But yeah, that's cool. That's really, really cool. If you like any of Alexandra's books, please comment below and tell us which ones you plan on reading. Cool. Did I ask you which one is your favorite already?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll rewatch it and find out. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I struggle with reading on my reading podcast. I just don't have a lot of time, and so sometimes I'll like watch or I'll listen to a audiobook or just another podcast that kind of does their own audiobook reading of it from YouTube, or maybe I'll find one online, or I'll find one on Spotify. And that's helped me read through a lot. But I noticed with Fourth Wing specific, first of all, don't get Fourth Wing's don't you go on YouTube and find that one, or I'm not gonna tell you which one it is. 'Cause I'm not gonna shit talk another YouTuber, but I haven't found a good fourth wing one, and whenever like it's all done by like so far, you know, a woman voice actor, which is totally fine, but the voices that they use for Taryn, I don't believe should ever be like it's like the gravelly, like, you know, voice. And I'm just like, this is Taryn's obviously an elderly English man who's like bisexual. He's obviously, you know, Ian McKellen, right? Anyways, so, and that those turned me off. It was a lot of different voice, like I think that the voice actors or actresses are pretty good for most of the ones that I've seen so far. Like usually I'll just find one really quick and on Spotify or something like that helps me read through it. I found one for Six of Crows on Spotify as well, but it's paid, or you have to go online and then use the online version instead of the app for most of the audio books for those, but not for Mistborn, which is the one I'm reading right now. It's ooh, Alex, what I do? Oh, okay. This is Mistborn. Mistborn is a really good book about, it's like kind of fantasy, fantasy heist superhero kind of vibes. It's a really like deep world that I didn't realize how deep it was, but I'm listening to an audio recording of this during work and reading when I can. And I'm on chapter 10, and I'll link the audiobooks that I talk about and Alex talks about in the description below. But that one I really liked because it's like the subtle changes in their voices that I keep looking for the right one. The Spotify version is really good, and you don't have to use the web player version of it. You can just straight stream it from Spotify, and I'll try and give you the right one because I think there's like 3 or 4 different ones. Yeah, but this one's really good, and I like all the voices, and I agree with every character that they've presented and how I expect them to be. And obviously, you know, everybody has a different image of a character, but I like all the interpretations they do in that one. Also, The Alchemist is has a really good audiobook on YouTube. There's 2 different kinds, and I'll link the one that I like the most. It's like an elderly gentleman. And he's very reverent with how he talks about all the things that he's mentioning in The Alchemist. And I think that put me in the right headspace because I read the first few chapters of The Alchemist on my own. And then I switched to the audiobook for a little bit, and I was going to go back, but I really liked the perspective that the narrator was giving in that audiobook. And it just made it make more sense. Because in my head, I can't imagine the pauses and all that reverential, you know, tonal shifts in my head, you know. And I think that it gave me a little bit of the alchemist should be perceived in a certain way. And in my head, I was just thinking about like sheep, and I was like, there's not much meaning in any of this. But the way he talked about the sheep and the way he talked about the people was very like, it made the message get through a little bit better for me. But if you like to read, obviously read. Just if you don't have time like me and also can't read like me, then there's 2 good audiobooks I'll link below. And the only other one that I've used so far was for the Shadow of the Gods and Hunger of the Gods. I pretended like I read all that. I did not. I mean, I didn't pretend. I obviously said I'd listened to the book and read the book, but that book is thick, and I don't have that kind of time. And Alex reads way too fast. So I listen to audiobooks more, and this is my favorite audiobook so far. It's the same audio voice actor so far for every version of the Shadow and Bone series. All right, Shadow and Bone series.
The Bloodsworn Saga.
The Bloodsworn Saga. Shadow and Bone is a unboxing series of boxes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, that's my favorite one. He really accents the way that John Gwynne describes things, and the voices. Like he does such a good job with like Orca's voice. Like he sounds womanly, you know, but like in I can't distinguish. Like I feel like she would actually sound exactly like exactly like how he shows her. And then the same way for like these older grizzled characters, and the same way for like young kids. And I'm just like, how? I got really weirdly fascinated with how the voice actors are doing that. Alex is an actress, so you can tell me about that. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying you could one day tell me about it. You don't have to do it on pod, but like I'm very, 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 very fascinated with that, and obviously do voiceovers for us for our poems. So, but yeah, that's my favorite podcast. That's my favorite audiobook. This is my favorite podcast.
Right.
But yeah,
I recently got into audiobooks. I'm more of like a visual person, so it's hard for me like to listen to them, but I gotten better with that. I actually finished like my first two, and the first one is I'm Glad My Mom Died, a memoir by Jenette McCurdy, who is, you know, a child actor. So and she read it herself, so that was a pretty I guess like bracing like experience, like hearing like you can hear that what she actually felt like in those moments, like her inner remembrance. And so it's a really good read. I believe everyone should listen to it or read it. And I also read or listened to The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo, who wrote the Shadow and Bone series. And it has, I can't remember the woman narrator, but Ben Barnes, who is in the series, also read like half the book. So that was pretty interesting, like good tie-in for her short stories and with the series that was going on at the time that they recorded it. And I am currently listening to Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen, and it is like a fantasy mermaid series. I haven't it's a duology, I believe. I can't remember the name of the second one, but it's interesting. It's I don't know how to describe it, but the woman who reads it, her voice is just so soothing. And
yeah, I heard you talk about that book a lot, and I don't know if I'm ready to feel like that much from it, especially since like she's the one that did it, and I'm like, I wanna sit down and take my time with it. Yeah, is it where do you watch it at? Like, do you watch it on Spotify?
I listen to them through Libby, through local library.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I link that in the description?
The app, yeah. But you have to have your own library card too.
Is that like a thing that you can go to any library and
if your library offers like Libby, like, or they have an online card. So I have an online card, and
that's
basically
cool.
can access all their online resources.
How did I know anything about this? There's a library right next to my apartment complex, and I'm gonna go there and check that out. I do have a library card actually, so I will check that out. And what was it called again?
Libby.
No, like the book that you. Yeah.
I'm Glad My Mom Died.
Word.
Jenette McCurdy.
Word. So we have a new segment on this podcast where we're gonna do a little bit more literary kind of stuff. I guess I call it literary. So, and a little bit more engagement too, I guess. So we have these bubbles right here that I'm gonna fill up with. We're gonna fill up with little cutouts of recommendations that people have given us for books and popular books that we might want to read, and maybe even a couple old books, I'm not sure, and also some poems. And the poems are going to be yellow, maybe, or something like that, or color. Books are probably going to be in white. And every podcast, we're going to reach in the bowl and pull out one. You're talking about every podcast episode, and basically something like that. We'll figure out the frequency of it. But we'll reach in the bowl, and if it's a white one, and so if it's a book that we may want to see about or think about, we're going to read a chapter of it, basically committing to reading a chapter together. And then the next podcast after that, we'll talk about our impressions of it and decide if we actually want to talk about it on the podcast, like how we're doing with these books here. And if we don't want to, you'll never hear from it again. Or we'll say like, we didn't think it was worth it, or we'll, give our impression and then, our next decision about it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's just a way to like cover a few more books and get everybody more participation in it. And I'm excited to do that. We were going to have some today, but I was late and I didn't get the printer to work. So yeah, I wish I could have presented them to you, but these little balls right here, they're really cool. I know we talked about this before on the podcast a long time ago, but I'm glad to finally start doing these. Yeah. You excited to do these little things? Yeah.
Don't forget.
But yeah, so, and if it is a poem, we are going to, let's see. So we're going to read the poem. Basically we picked the poem out of these little balls, whatever color it is. We have a sheet online on our Google Doc, and it basically tells us the author, where to find the whole poem, and all the details about it. And then we'll basically cut off the camera for like a quick second. Me and Alex will go through like the title, the author, meaning, purpose, all that good stuff, and say how we feel about it and how it relates to us. How what we feel we relate to the poem, or if we don't relate to it, or give it a rating. We'll rate it out of 1 to 5, which I guess we could do for the books too. Or I don't know if we want to be like rude about any books. I don't know. We could probably be rude, but like poems, they're kind of subjective, and if we don't relate to it, we'll just give it a 1. Yeah. So that's just my little thing that I kind of wanted to add to those, and I think it'd be fun. It's just like a little 5-10 minute poetry reading that if anybody's curious about, they can stick around for. But yeah, they're called Magic Globe Reviews. You want to tell us why they're called?
Well, I think like originally it was kind of inspired by like Harry Potter, but then like that sounds like magic. But also the Globe Theater from Shakespeare. So
yeah. So they're like, I guess that's like two like really good inspirations, because these look like little snitch things. Mm-hmm. And then the Globe Reviews are like, I was like, how do we make this like literary related name? And I like that it's in a little globe. So yeah, those are gonna be there. Hopefully we do a next podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna commit to trying to do a next podcast. But yeah, that's what we got for y'all on that. And hopefully we can have that in a little segment. Maybe on the days we don't do unboxings, something like that. But yeah, so that's our podcast. Hope you guys had fun, or like had some takeaway. We're reading a lot of books. Hopefully some of those are something y'all are catching up on. Yeah. Let us know if you guys have any podcasts that y'all, it's not podcasts, but audio books that y'all want to tell us about, because I really like audiobooks now. And if you guys have any book recommendations we can add to the little Globe Reviews, let us know. Or if you just guys want to talk, and tell us about your day. We just like comments. Please comment. But yeah, that's all I got. You got anything else? Okay, cool. We gotta go. Y'all have a nice night. Stay frosty. I'm not ending it on that. Y'all have a nice night. Peace. I feel like I forgot something.